We are on 8th of Shvat, Chet Shvat, marks the Hilula of a really great rabbi. His name was Rabbi Yosef Jiyan Z'tl. He was born in the English year 1882 and passed away on the 6th of February in the English year 1960. He was approximately 78 years of age at the time he passed away. He would become a great judge, a Diane, in Tripoli, respectively Libya. He'll be the head of the Jewish court over there and the chief rabbi of Benghazi in Lov, in Libya, respectively. And will have various different, let's just say, phenomenal and very important roles in of itself in Libya and all different parts in of itself. And he would serve as a spiritual leader, I believe, for the Jewish community of Benghazi that will concentrate, I think, in the area of Jadu. There was a specific concentration camp during the Holocaust time period in of itself, the Second World War. Let's explore a few more of, let's just say, the importances of what actually occurred in his life in of itself. Now, he was born in Tripoli, in Libya, respectively. I believe actually it was on the 4th of Tishrei in the Hebrew year. Hey Tafresh Mem Gimel came from great rabbinic heritage. His father's name was Rav Kamos Jiyan, and his mother's name was Rabbanit Aziza. I think when he was only 3 years of age, very, very sadly, his father passed away. And when he was 5 years of age, he would start to learn inside the Talmud Torah, inside the area in itself, get a good, strong Torah education. When he was 11 years old, he would learn under the auspices of a very famous rabbi who was spoken about before, Rabbi Tzion Bitan, a great rabbi. He himself was a Rosh Yeshiva, famous Kabbalist, the head of Jewish court, and many different positions in of itself. And he was the head of the Talmud Torah in of itself. By the year 1901, he was 19 years of age. He received rabbinic ordination over there. It was a period where he would start, I believe, also teaching inside the Talmud Torah, where he learned, if I'm not mistaken, and he would continue learning yeshiva among the auspices of Rabbi Tzion Bitan. And very much, I think, come what the year 1903, he would learn actually Dayanut to become a judge under Harab Kamus Ajarbi, another great rabbi we spoke about before. He was only 21 years of age at this point in time. And he would get married, I believe, in the year 1907. He would be about 25 years of age at this point in time, to his wife, Rabbanit Rachel. And interesting enough, I believe she happened to be the daughter of his rabbi, Rav Tzion Bitan. So very, very much married into a great rabbinic family over there. And he would continue his studies and progress, say, at a phenomenal rate in of itself. I believe at the wedding ceremony in of itself, among the people, the great rabbanim that would actually say over the brachot included the famous rabbi Hizkiah Shabtai, who was, I think, very, very famous rabbi. He was a shluch de Rabbanan of the Sephardi community and was a famous chacham in Tripoli, in Libya, in Syria in of itself, and was a member of the chief rabbinate council. So he had many closeness to many great people. He was ordained as a Diane, I think, in the English year 1917. So at that stage in time, he was 35 years of age, under Rav Abraham Chaviv and Rabbi Raphael Davush from the Davush rabbinic dynasty. Was a very great rabbinic family, especially in Libya, probably arguably one of the most famous families over there in of itself. And he'll be appointed to a position, I think, in the Dayanut, in the Jewish court in Tripoli, under various different rabbis in that specific vicinity. Very, very prestigious position. And I believe Rabbi Mordechai HaKohen passed away. He would actually start working at that stage in time as a Diane in Benghazi, respectively. I think in the year 1930, he would reach to Tripoli. I think Rav Kamus Balach, who was, I think, the rabbi of Benghazi, and very much at that point in time, he would actually become an integral part of it. He would arrive, and they actually in Tripoli choose Rabbi Jiyan especially. And I think he would leave, once he would leave Tripoli, he would actually serve as a Diane in Benghazi. And I think he stayed there for a significant time period. And over there, he found resolutions, let's just say, to record, let's say, the name of the city of Benghazi. How would you actually write the name of the city if you're writing a specific document in of itself? He was grappling with many different cases and dealt with the structure, let's just say, and various different, let's say, importances within regards to documents inside the area, which would leave an imprint and possibly important, very, very important in of itself for documents and for the rabbinate over there and the bet din. I believe Rav Camus Falat passed away in the year 1941. He himself was a very, very great rabbi, and he would be appointed. They would appoint Rav Jiyan to, let's say, have the position instead of him as the chief rabbi of Benghazi, a very prominent position. At the same time, he would become also the head of the Jewish court over there in his place. It was a time period where there was a lot of challenges, and it was a time period of the Second World War, which we spoke about at the beginning of this video over here. So it was a very scary time, but a time where he needed real leadership in of itself. I believe in 1940 he headed a committee responsible for hosting 300 refugees from Europe who were, I believe, on their way to Eretz Yisrael at that point in time, but they had to return for one reason or another to Italy and weren't allowed to make that journey to Eretz Yisrael. I believe, unfortunately, I think his daughter and maybe children of hers were injured there was a bombing actually in Tripoli by the French aircraft, it was reported over, and she would actually move into his house and with her children at that point in time, I believe. And much more can be stated about what happened actually in Benghazi at that point in time, especially, I believe, in December the 9th, 1940, the leaders of the British forces led by General Will met the leaders of local communities, including Rav Jiyan, and he was basically, Rav Jiyan, a representative of the Jewish community himself, because he had that position in of itself. And much more can be stated over there. I think the Nazi forces reported over would occupy Benghazi at one point in time. Even the German soldiers would enter Rabbi Jiyan's house, removing food supplies. It was reported over that had been stockpiled during the war, and it was reported over he suffered a beating also, but I think he would go on, thankfully, to survive. And I think it was in February 1942, very, very sadly, I think some of the Libyan Jews would actually move to concentration camps, and he appealed to the head of the committee, and really, really did try, and it was very, very petrifying time at that point in time for the community in of itself, and it was a very scary time, and I would let everyone else, because just to research upon that specific Kufa, that time period of 1942 of actually what take on, because we'll leave that for maybe another research video, which I would sure you could find it. And I think he would return eventually to Benghazi, and at a later stage, I think when his camp was liberated in itself, thank God, he would survive it. And I think in 1944, there'll be the Moshe Sharet, who I think was the second prime minister of Israel between the years 1954 to 1955, would actually visit there in of itself. And Rabbi Jiyan would welcome Moshe Sharet, the Israeli prime minister in of itself. And I think there was obviously a very hostile, let's just say, attitude towards the Jewish community in Benghazi by the Arab population, especially since 1945. Rabbi Jiyan, reported over, would hold meetings at Maccabi Club over there, try to be like a mediator, try to relax, let's say, the atmosphere in of itself between the parties, and was trying to coordinate with all the different people inside the area. Now, I believe his children will first emigrate to the land of Israel, and several months later, I believe it was on the eve of Rosh Hashanah in the English year 1949, he would emigrate to Israel with his wife and settle in Ramat Gan, it was reported over. And after his immigration to Israel, I believe it will be a Rabbi Rachamim Mehadar, who was another, I think, great rabbi from Libya, would actually take his place in the rabbinate of the pinnacle position in Benghazi, respectively. They passed away on the 8th of Shvat, I believe, in the English year, 1960. It was, and I believe he was buried in Bnei Brak. I think his son, Rav David Jiyan, founded the Bet Yosef synagogue in Givatayim and named the place after his name in and of itself. So I would recommend everyone just go back to what happened during the Holocaust over there. It's not really historical talking about that specific period in itself, but I'd recommend everyone to educate and to learn within regards to what actually the horrors that occurred during that time period, because it really did affect Libya, unfortunately, in very major way, as we just stated before. Now let's explore his family. In of itself, we stated before his father's name was Rav Kamos. His wife's name we mentioned was Rabbanit Rachel. He would have various sons, including Avram, David, Nisim, Shalom, and Shimon. Among his daughters was Amila, Baba, Viola, Shoshana. I believe her husband happened to be Rav Avram Glickstone, if I'm not mistaken. Regina also, or Rovina, and Rina. His brother was Rav Shlomo. His sister was Gotza, I believe. The great family from a few generations back, especially was his grandfather, Rav Shlomo, from his father's side, and his grandmother was Rabbanit Gotza, I believe, from the side of his father. Among his teachers, as mentioned before, was Rav Kamos Ajarbi, and the famous Rabbi Mukubal, Rabbi Tzion Bitan. He would eventually, I believe, marry his daughter. Now, he would have himself many great students, great time with him, including the famous Kabbalist, Rabbi Yosef Chaim Zarok, and also Rabbi Kamos Nachisi, and Rav Kamos Agiv. Very interesting enough. So he would leave over, let's say, very great time with him that will themselves have many, many great time with him, respectively. And I would recommend everyone to learn more about the great Chacham. Please, we're a community here. We're learning about the great rabbis of yesteryear. If you happen to be related to any of the great rabbanim, please let me know. We will, please let me know. It will be great to hear more within about them. We're a community here. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, share the videos. Wishing you blessings from Israel.